Jamie.
And I'm Derek.
And this is I Know You with Derek and Jamie, the podcast where two friends recommend something to watch based around a weekly theme. It could be a movie, TV show, miniseries.
Also, we always have a themed bonus segment where we discuss anything from current news stories to dream fan castings to random recommendations. The possibilities are endless. We also end each show with some mini games, so stick around for that.
Today's theme is, it's all about 10s. This is our 10th episode, you guys, so we wanted to try to theme it around the number 10.
We did it. We weren't sure if we were going to make it this far, and we did.
So the movie that I suggested this week was Casablanca because it has 10 letters in the title.
And the movie I chose for this week was Terminator because it also has 10 letters in the title. Just a disclaimer before we jump in. As always, there's going to be spoilers, but these are some pretty old films, so listen at your own risk. Unless you've already seen both of these movies or just don't care, then enjoy our commentary. Every single time we say, oh, you just don't care, that always gets a laugh out of you. Every single week you laugh at that line.
I know. I'm pretty sure I even wrote that.
I know, which means you're just laughing at your own joke every week. You're like, huh.
Yeah, what have you been up to, Derek? I mean, it was just Memorial Day.
Yeah. I went up to my parents' house up in Georgia, beautiful lake house, and I spent the weekend with them and a couple of high school friends. And yeah, it was really nice, other than like sunburnt a little bit, mostly just my lips. They've been like super chapped, but like chapstick doesn't really help. Chapstick only gives like immediate relief.
I'm so confused as to how your lips got burnt, but nothing else on your face got burnt.
I know. Well, lips are more like the skin is more sensitive, I believe. And you're supposed to put like sunscreen on your lips, and they have specific like lip sunscreen.
Well, I mean, the chapstick that I use has sunscreen in it. Still, like, I don't even think about putting stuff on my lips, and I'd never gotten burnt lips. You're just very white.
No, which is surprising because I was like the least burnt out of anyone.
But yours is like the most inconvenient.
Yeah, I don't know. My buddy, he got burnt, like his feet were just completely like solid red.
Yeah, that's probably the worst place to get burnt is the top of your feet.
He didn't want to put on shoes or anything because it just fucking hurt. I mean, he was the one who got to put sunscreen completely on his feet, so.
Idiot.
Dumbass. Dennis, if you're listening, you're a dumbass. No, we love him.
I think about what an idiot would do, and I do not do that thing. Dwight Schrute.
All right, well, we got that reference out of the way early this week, folks.
We just put up episode 8, and there was no Office reference in there. Did you notice that?
Oh, we didn't have an Office reference in episode 8?
No.
Oh, no, we already ended our streak before episode 10, and we didn't even notice. Or I should say you ended your streak.
Starting it again.
Let's see how far we can get.
There is one in episode 9, so I'm going to start it again.
What's been going on with you?
We moved out of the apartment. We're living with my mother-in-law in a little room. Easton's x-rays came back good. He's ready for physical therapy. And we found an apartment to move into.
Nice. How much longer till you guys move in there?
Well, it's a brand new apartment that is still under construction, so the move-in date is currently August 20th.
Oh, dang.
So like 3 months.
Yeah. Well, okay, that's not terrible.
All right, well, let's jump into the movies. Like I said, my movie is Casablanca, and this was kind of easy, but kind of tough figuring out how Derek would rate this. So, objective competence. This was the hard thing because it is an older movie. So I was doing it based on the quality of when it came out, not based on today's standards.
I'll say I also did that for both films. I usually do that with films for that, especially because, they're limited by the technology they had and techniques and stuff.
Yeah. So for objective competence, I gave it a B. For personal enjoyment, though, this is where I'm iffy. It's a 3 or a 4. I'm just going to go 3. Rewatchability, 1. This is not a Derek kind of movie. Okay, so the quick info for this movie. Casablanca was rushed to be released in 1942 to take advantage of the publicity from the Allied invasion of North Africa a few weeks earlier. It was directed by Michael Curtis and stars Humphrey Bogart, Ingrid Bergman, Claude Rains, Dooley Wilson, and Paul Henreid. It is based on an unproduced stage play, Everybody Comes to Rick's. It won the Oscar for Best Picture, Director, and Screenplay and was nominated for Lead Actor, Supporting Actor, Cinematography, Editing, and Music. It's the 14th highest rated film by IMDb users. In 2006, the Writers Guild of America voted it the best screenplay of all time. An interesting fact is that the movie had to be shot in sequence because the screenplay wasn't finished when they started. And just a really cool little quote that I saw from an MTV article by Eric Schneider in 2010. He said, watching the film now is very different from watching it in 1943. And not just because you're watching it like on a streaming service or DVD or whatever, instead of paying a nickel to see it in the movie theater. Modern viewers see the film through the filter of already knowing how the war turned out, but contemporary audiences were still in the middle of it. The theme of everyone making sacrifices to help good defeat evil is probably even more stirring when the outcome of the battle being depicted hasn't been determined yet. Casablanca may have seemed like a rally cry, a reminder that this war, the one in the movie, which we are also fighting in real life, must be won. I thought that was a really cool quote because this movie literally came out before World War II ended, and I just wanted to include that in the info. So let me do a super quick summary. In 1941, Rick Blaine runs a classy American-style nightclub in Casablanca, complete with dining, dancing, and a casino, while avoiding wartime politics. But then Ilsa, an ex-lover who broke his heart, shows up in town, trying to make her way to America with her freedom-fighting husband and desperately needing Rick's help. All right, Derek, let's talk this out. Let's talk about Casablanca.
So I think I'm going to do something. I'm going to go wild here. I'm going to reveal one of my ratings up top.
Okay.
This is unprecedented. Kind of feel like I need to reveal this to talk about it. And that is the objective competence. I did try to view this film from when it was made. I honestly didn't even think about the fact that it was released while the war was still going on. That being said, I can definitely appreciate the filmmaking. You can definitely see the style and influence of this film throughout so many other films, even classics, like Indiana Jones does the plane thing, with the plane over the map. You can see kind of where it got it from that. And I thought the lighting in this film was just, clear, it's creating styles and staples in the genre, the use of shadows, characters feel like they're in their own little world, even though they're in this giant bar with tons of people around. The acting is really good. I definitely can appreciate this film and everything that went into it. That being said, I did like the film too.
Well, you didn't tell me what you rated objective competence.
Did I not?
No.
Oh.
You just said all these good things about it.
Whoops, I guess I don't even need to reveal it. You know what? Scratch that.
No, you're good.
You know what? I'm not even going to say that because I thought I needed to, and I guess I didn't. So
double back.
We're not breaking precedent here, folks. We'll reveal it at the end. Sorry for the tease.
Unacceptable.
But no, like I was saying, that being said, I didn't love the film, but I did like the film. I did enjoy it for what it was. I definitely did have issues with it. It's a little slow. I mean, at times, it definitely does pick up. It was kind of hard to keep my attention the entire time. There's some scenes I was just okay, let's pick up to the next scene where that stuff's actually happening. Oh, here we go. And,
Yeah, that's one thing, I had issue with that too, rewatching, because I've seen it a lot. I got bored watching it. I enjoy this movie so much. I just was not in the right mindset when I was watching it this time around. But I love this movie, and there are things that are issues with it. One thing I don't like about movies is that they are not diverse. There was literally one person of color in this movie. And then the girl who was I'm from Bulgaria, we need to get to America. She had a 100% American accent. No European influence in that accent at all.
I didn't even realize she was.
She was I'm from Bulgaria. My husband and I need to get to America. It's girl, you're not from Bulgaria. You're from America. Just go home.
Maybe they're trying to hide their accents. They don't want people to really know where they're from. So she just said, that's what she says. I don't know.
Yeah.
I didn't even notice that. But yeah, all that stuff, I can kind of just push to the back of my mind, at least somewhat.
Because of the era it came out in.
Right, exactly. Yeah, that's one thing. I will say also, I didn't really like Ingrid Bergman's character, Ilsa. She's not a character to me. She's literally just just a woman. Oh, that sounded terrible.
She's just a woman.
She's just a woman. No, God, that sounded so bad. No, she's just an empty blank woman kind of thing. I don't know. That was my main issue with this film. It's known for this, it's one of the greatest romance films of all time. Oh my gosh, look at this. Casablanca, the romance that's solved the war, whatever. All these crazy things you hear about Casablanca and how amazing it is and everything. People will say the lines at the end, here's looking at you, kid, all that great stuff. And
yeah.
And I'm she doesn't do anything. And the romance isn't even that great. The story is really more about Rick, about an older, cynical man who thinks he's kind of washed up and is they don't need me, I don't need them. A series of events that kind of brings him back around, that brings him back to the fight.
Yeah, I agree with that. I feel her character was just there to make Rick's character better.
Right.
Like Rick, before she comes into the film, he stays out of things. He doesn't drink with his guest.
He lets that quote unquote friends like get shot and killed. You know, he's like, why do I stick my neck out for nobody?
Yeah, she didn't know he was going to be there.
No, she's not like, oh, wait, I know where you can go. We can go to Casablanca. Rick's there. Like, there's nothing like that.
Yeah.
She just, of all the gin joints in all the world, she happened to walk into his, you know?
Yeah. One of the things that really grossed me out was the age difference. Humphrey Bogart at the time it was released was 43 and Ingrid was 27. And I get that's like normal back in old Hollywood. They would get the well-known male actors to play the love interest and then get younger women.
Yeah.
That just grosses me out.
Yeah, that's not great. I didn't really notice that, but now that you say it, it's much more noticeable.
So you don't like Ingrid. Who was your favorite character?
Oh, probably Captain Renault or Rick. I like Rick's character. Like, it is a decent character, and there's like he does go through a character arc, and it's a fairly simple one. But I think right. I think those two are really good.
Yeah, my favorite character is the chief of police, Louis.
Isn't that Captain Renault?
Yeah, the guy at the end who he says, Louis, I think this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship. He says that to him. Yeah, that guy. I love that guy. Yeah. When he like at the scene where the German captain was like, you need to shut it down for some reason. And he's like, oh man. He goes, all right, everyone's got to go home. Rick's like, why? And he's like, because there is gambling in this joint. And then the guy comes up and he's like, here's your winnings. And he's like, oh, thank you.
Yep. Like there's good scenes like that. There's definitely enjoyment to be had in this film, and you can see why it has stood the test of time. So many films from that time are just forgotten that like I couldn't even name them because I don't even know them. Even like the big ones, even like all of those. Well, I've never seen Gone with the Wind. I have no interest in seeing it.
Don't worry, I am not going to subject you to watch a 3 to 4 hour long movie where literally the only line that anyone knows is, frankly, my darling, I don't give a damn.
I will say this, like, you know all the ending lines, but like there's a lot of them that you know throughout.
Yeah, I actually wrote a list of the quotes, and they use these quotes like in so much pop culture since this has been out.
Yeah.
So it's Play It Again, Sam. Of all the gin joints and all the towns and all the world, she walks into mine. Here's looking at you, kid. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but soon and for the rest of your life. We'll always have Paris. Round up the usual suspects. And Louis, I think this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship.
Okay, I've never heard the round up the usual suspects.
I have. There's been a couple of things that I've heard that in.
Maybe that one's just way too
broad. It's like not specific.
Because like so many
Casablanca.
people could be like just putting that in like a screenplay or just saying it just as like that's what you say. Like let's round up the usual suspect. Yeah, that's not necessarily every time it's said it's quoted to this. But yeah, I get all those. Like every time one of those came out, I'm like, I've seen that written on a bunch of posters and glasses and said in a bunch of movies before. I know this. I did like it. I do think the film should have like been way more about Rick and Louis. Like the relationship is great, but it's clearly not the focus, and it's clearly like they want to be Ilsa and Rick. It's like, oh, it's their love.
Yeah, I would want to watch a sequel of that, of them hiding out. Like that would be really cool.
What do they get up to next? Because it's like the war's still going on. Is that what they're gonna do now? They're turning Rick's place into like a safe haven and like a place for like passage.
No, Rick sold his place to the guy who owns the other cafe.
Oh right, yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, when Rick kills the Nazi captain and then the police come or whatever, and Louis is like, round up the usual suspects, he's been shot. That's when both Rick and Louis are on the same page of who they're fighting for. They're fighting against the Nazis. They know they're in the wrong. So that's when they're like, we're gonna have to hide out for a while. And Rick's like, we? And Louis is like, yeah, well, they're gonna figure it out sooner or later. And so they're leaving Casablanca together to hide out and fight for the Allies. That's it, right?
Yeah, that's us.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's the good guys.
Yeah, those are the good guys. There you go. You got it. Bang. Wasn't me. Didn't do it. Like, okay, when you said that they had to like rush filming, that's clearly one of the scenes they rushed. Like, why wasn't it like bang and then he had to make like a call like, hey, this dude's been shot? Like, not have the people literally stroll up 1 second later and him just like hide the gun. Like, come on.
I think the reason that they just automatically showed up is extra Nazi people who were on their way. They just happened to conveniently show up after the guy was shot immediately.
What I'm saying, they could have written it so just the main dude was headed headed towards the airport, and then like they had to call him in after they were shot or something.
I agree.
Or like give it like an extra like 10 seconds and then have him show up. Like give him some like plot. Like come on, okay, go ahead. What would you have to say?
I love the old movie gunfights where all he did was just pull it out of the side of his hip and went bang. But then to contrast that, the over the top dramatic deaths. The guy got shot and he's like, and fell to the ground.
Also, what's great, there's no bullet hole. There's nothing. Even with the guy who got shot in the back at like Rick's place.
Nothing.
Like, he's just like, and like falls down. But like, could they not like tear a hole in the suit or just like take some black marker and just for that shot? So at least it's like, oh, yeah, there's the bullet hole.
God, I love old movies because it's just like, that's what they had to do back then. But it's so ridiculous.
There were no rules then. They were just like, fuck it, let's film shit and see what happens. Maybe we'll be remembered for 100 years. Maybe not. Who cares?
And the last thing I'll say about the movie, I love old movies because the accents. Here's looking at you, kid. Say it again, Sam.
Speaking on that, the singing of that era, that was a terrible rendition. But it's like the same type of singing in Snow White, like the same type of voice and like vocal range as Snow White has.
Yeah.
It's just like, who actually thought that sounded good? Like that just hurts my ears.
Have you heard some of today's music?
Well, I'm not saying today's music's all great. I'm just saying, I guess, yeah, it's just of the times. I don't know. That was just like what voices sounded good. Oh, I thought a good change to the film. I kind of thought about like, what if they remade this film and did really focus more on Rick and Louie, and then giving Ilsa a lot more character and like, what's the word for like taking charge? Conviction? No, I don't know. I can't think of it. But either way, like giving her a lot more to do by like, you know, because they slept together, or it's heavily implied they slept together. I don't think they don't show anything because I don't think you could back then, but it's heavily implied they sleep together. And then like she's fully ready to run off with him before he's like, nope, you're going back with your husband, and then gives her the speech. I thought it'd be great after the speech. She's like, oh, Rick, I was never going to go with you. Like, just tricked him. Just like, I just knew there was a good person in there and just like had to do anything to get him out. And then you'd be like, oh shit. Like the whole time she knew, like she's planned the whole thing. And she mentioned it to, what was her husband's name? I can't remember.
Victor Laszlo.
Victor Laszlo, of course. Laszlo. Do you think Laszlo would be here? Do you think Laszlo would escape? Said his name so many times. You're Victor Laszlo? Yes, I'm Victor Laszlo.
He just didn't sound like an old movie actor. You sounded like Moira Rose. Victor Laszlo.
Victor Laszlo, my baby.
Victor.
Is this your new friend, Victor Laszlo? Oh, what a charm. I have no clue if that's good or not. That sounds so terrible.
A couple things to what you were just saying. First, I read an article, I think it was the same MTV article I read, where they were talking about like people have thought about doing remakes, but they just haven't worked, or it's just not a good movie to remake because it's so iconic.
Right. Anytime people have tried to make ones like this, never worked. Like the remake of Psycho, Ben-Hur, that one that came out like a couple years ago. They're usually not great.
Yeah, these are classics because of the time they came out in. They're not going to be groundbreaking now.
I don't know. I think you could tell a really cool story.
Yeah, you can use elements of it, but don't retell this exact story. Like there have been like, I think it said some TV shows, but they literally lasted a handful of episodes.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Victor Laszlo, like, why wouldn't you change your name? Why would you use your real name if you're trying to escape? Even if you're in French occupied area, there's still Nazis there and you're a well-known person. No one knows what you look like. Like just literally change your name and you can get out of there so much quicker.
I don't know, maybe pride in the name. Maybe he didn't want to give up his name. It's a point of pride. The last thing I was going to bring up was I didn't really understand like the politics of it. Like obviously I understood like World War II and stuff. Like so the Nazis are there, but they're not like they're there. Like it's a French occupied area. I got that. And France currently was German occupied at the time. Like, what did that mean for Casablanca? Like, they're technically still kind of free, but not really.
So my understanding, Casablanca is in Morocco.
Yeah.
So it's not in France.
Right.
And it is French occupied, so they're French officers. That's what Louis was. They worked with the Germans. Like if the Germans wanted something, they did it. They just weren't controlled by the Germans. The Germans were not in control in that area. It was like a free space because it wasn't France, it wasn't German.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're just kind of appeasing the Germans just to make sure, like, so the Germans didn't do anything worse. So they wouldn't send more troops. Probably there wasn't enough Germans there to really take it over. But the French people there might not have fully known that. So, okay, that makes more sense. They didn't really affect it too much because I got the gist of everything. But I'm just like, at the times, I'm like, so do Germans have power here or not? I'm like, what's happening? But okay, that makes sense.
Like at the time it came out, it was North Africa hadn't been invaded by anyone. And that's why they rushed this release because North Africa was invaded. So they're like, we have to release this now.
Yeah.
Who and how would you recommend this?
Right. First and foremost, I would recommend this to like film buffs. If you kind of want to like say you're a film buff, like this, like I feel like there's a list of like classic films that you kind of should watch. I think this one should definitely be on there. And then just fans of classic films. Like if you're a fan of The Gone with the Winds, The 12 Angry Men, The Miracles on 34th Street, all that good stuff, The Singing in the Rains, like you'll probably like this as well, at least be way more open to it. But I mean, then again, people who want to see this movie have seen this movie. No one's going to be like, Casablanca, what's that? You know? Never heard of it. What's it about?
I agree.
All right, on to scores. Do you want to remind everyone of your guesses?
Objective competence, I guess, to B.
I gave it an A-. Like I said, I really appreciate the filmmaking, especially for the time. One thing that did make me laugh out loud, which wasn't supposed to, was the flashback scene, Ilsa and Rick together, and they were driving, and just the terrible driving effect. I'm like, oh my God. Old movies. I can't really like hold it against the film, because that's just probably the best effect for driving they had.
Yeah.
But it's just, it made me laugh so much. But yeah, I gave it an A-.
Personal enjoyment, 3.
And I gave it a 6. Like I said, I liked it. Like, I didn't love it. You know, when it was released, definitely does kind of keep it from getting up into like 7, 8, 9 for me. But just because it's harder for me to connect to those movies anyway. And maybe also like I expected it to be more of a romance film, which I can get on board with. But since it wasn't what I was like prepared for, that always kind of, I think, affects people's viewing experiences.
Rewatchability, I gave it a 1.
I'm going to give this a 3.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'll probably watch it at least one more time. I'll probably put it on. Now that I know what it is, and then also trying to like watch it more for Rick and Louis and viewing it from that lens, I want to see if I enjoy it more. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. Maybe I'll like hate Ilsa more and it'll just bring it down for me. I'm like, why the fuck am I watching this? But who knows? Who knows?
All right, so I was 7. That's not terrible.
All right, yeah, I think I can beat that. That gives me good hope. Honestly, that's a beatable number. What was it, like 2 weeks ago when you got like off by like 2 total?
No, I think Real War Movies, I was off by 1.
Okay, yeah. So you're off by 1. Like when you, and I think we did yours first. So we were like, then I was like, yeah, there's no fucking way I'm winning this. It kind of just like hurt me for the next discussion because I'm like, I can't win. There's no point. You win. Podcast over. I don't want to talk about my movie. But this time I can. There's hope.
You can. You have a chance.
All right. So now on to my suggestion, which was Terminator. Before we get into the info of my film, I'm going to give my guesses. So for objective competence, I'm guessing an A-. For personal enjoyment, I'm guessing a 6 out of 10. And for rewatchability, I'm going 2 out of 5. I've also noticed like the last like 2 to 3 weeks, my ratings of your suggestions and then my guesses for my suggestions are like near identical. I don't know why that is. And I think we need to look into that. I don't know. But Terminator was written and directed by James Cameron and stars Arnold Schwarzenegger, Michael Biehn, Linda Hamilton, Paul Winfield, Earl Bowen, and an unrecognized cameo from Bill Paxton. Released in 1984, Terminator tells the story of a human soldier named Kyle Reese that is sent from the post-apocalyptic 2029 to 1984 to stop the Terminator, an almost indestructible cyborg killing machine which has been programmed to terminate Sarah Connor, whose unborn child is the key to humanity's future salvation. Now, James Cameron actually reportedly came up with the premise for Terminator from a fever dream he experienced during the release of his first film. Terminator topped the U.S. box office for the first 2 weeks of its release, grossing near $80 million by the end of its run, against a very modest $6.4 million budget. Terminator is credited with launching Cameron's directing career, solidifying Arnold as an action star, and led to a franchise spanning 30 years and over $3 billion. And in 2008, Terminator was selected to be preserved in the Library of Congress as culturally, historically, and aesthetically significant. I saw you make the face when I said an unrecognizable cannibal from Bill Paxton.
Yeah, where was he?
Do you want to guess? I don't think
Was
you can.
he one of the future soldiers?
No.
Was he one of the truck drivers?
Nope.
I'm trying to think of like obscure things. Was he an actor at the time or was he an extra on it?
He wasn't really known, no.
Okay.
But he wasn't like an extra in the background, you know? He had speaking lines.
Was he the boyfriend of the roommate who got murdered?
No, that's a good guess. That's a good guess. He is the punk leader at the beginning that Arnold takes the clothes from.
That's so cool.
Go, like, rewatch the first scene again. You'll be like, oh my God. It's him. Yeah, I didn't know that until like my, I don't know, maybe third or fourth viewing of this film. I first watched it in high school and then like fell in love with the franchise. On to your review of it. I'm going to start off. I kind of want to know what is your past with the Terminator franchise. I know you haven't seen this one, but have you seen any of the other ones?
I've seen parts of one movie. And that's it. Honestly, swear to God, going into this movie, I thought that I was going to be watching the one with the other android guy who could like transform. He was like
Liquid
melting metal.
Yeah, no.
That's what I was expecting to watch.
That's the second one.
I did not know that the Terminator was that old. I'll say that. I did not know it was early 80s.
Yeah. The second one doesn't come out for another 8 years, I think in 92.
That's why.
91, 92. It takes a minute for the second one to come out. It's very night and day between the two of them, honestly.
Oh, yeah.
That honestly leads me right into my second question. Did you, well, you did feel it was dated. I can kind of scratch that and move to the second part of the question. Did the film feeling dated affect your experience and how?
Dated how? With the graphics and the special effects and makeup or the era?
More the era. We can get into the special effects a little later, but more like the style and also just the way the film looks. They always look like the screen you're watching on them is a little foggy or something. But like, did that kind of stuff, did that keep you from enjoying this film?
So I love 80s movies. They are some of my favorite movies. So no, the 80s aspect and the filming style did not turn me off from this movie. It's like I even wrote in my notes, the era. I love movies in the 80s because I feel as though I could thrive in that decade. That didn't bother me. The special effects bothered me because I know it could have been better, but I get it. And even with the special effects not great, like I did not like watching those parts because they grossed me out. Like where he cut his arm open and then he gouged out his eye. That just grossed me out.
I'll say I thought those effects were pretty good.
Well, like the mechanical arm in them, but I mean like the face of Arnold, the fake face bothered me.
Yeah, I believe that was a complete animatronic, if I remember correctly. Like, I don't think it was prosthetics over Arnold's face. I believe that was a complete animatronic head of Arnold, which is why I think it just looks a tiny bit off. But I always thought of it like as he was moving, stuff like shit got shifted around. So like that's why it didn't look right. But that was my own headcanon to kind of get through the movie. But yeah, I'll definitely say like the climax scene when it's full robot and like it's running towards them.
Yeah, that's fine. That's really good.
No. I was about to say it's really bad.
Oh, for the time, I thought it was really good.
No, most of that's really good, but there's one like green screen effect. Come on, that one, because that was like the Casablanca driving scene bad, like level of green screen
What
effect.
scene?
It's at the very end. When they're getting into the like factory thing, the Terminator's kind of like lumbering after them. And then it's right as like they get into the next room and they're about to close the door and you see the Terminator in the hallway coming towards them. And like, it looks so bad. You don't remember that?
No.
And it's like trying to reach for the door, but you can tell it's like so not even there. Okay. But yeah, I'll say like the whole of like the climax and everything there is really good. But just that one part, I'm just like, oh, that's so bad.
Yeah, the robot I thought was good for the time. Maybe not that green screen one, but just in general, the robot. It's more so the makeup and I guess the Arnold animatronic face that bothered me. Just put like a gouged out eye patch.
I think that's what they do with later films. It's more like makeup on the actual Arnold. I still don't know, like general thoughts. Let's get into that. What did you like? What did you not like?
I like the 80s aspect of it. The quotes, obviously, so many great quotes came out of this movie too, just like Casablanca. So many great quotes came out of this movie. The I'll be back. I was not expecting that to be said in a police station where he's just like...
Oh yeah, you didn't know where that was from? Oh yeah. And then it's such a great scene to where I'll be back. And then 20 seconds later, it's just... just him crashing into the police station and then killing everyone.
Yeah, that I thought was really cool. And then some other lines that I didn't know.
Come with me if you want to live.
That one, I did not know that one was from this movie.
Oh, you didn't? No. Oh, yeah.
And then another thing that I liked was that I was able to predict it. It was a very predictable movie, mainly like when they were talking about the kid and the future guy Kyle was describing him. I immediately knew like, oh, that's the dad. That's going to be the dad.
I did not know that the first time I saw it.
She was like, tell me about John. Tell me about my son. And he's like, he's about my height. And as soon as he said that, I was like, he's your kid. Y'all are going to fuck and then you're going to die. And
you can definitely like tell on repeat viewings. I was like, oh yeah, they're telegraphing hard. I wasn't able to pick it up the first time.
Well, you were in high school.
Yeah, I was just a dumb high schooler. So
some things that I didn't like, I gotta say that this movie felt like a college film student.
Really?
Yeah, I could see someone in college, like not you were in film, but you weren't like this at all. Like I knew some guys in school who were like, I have this whole world like thought out and I have this whole movie and it's going to be like future, but the past, but they're fighting to save the future in the past. And it's going to be a lot of, you don't understand, man. It just felt like a college student wrote this movie and it made sense when you said it came to him in a fever dream. Like this is not something that someone would just think up.
I think
logically.
It's a great premise though. Like AI takes over and like for the time, artificial intelligence in the 80s, what was known of it was like mostly sci-fi. And so you could kind of just play around with it. I mean, there was still some stuff early on then, but like I thought it was a great premise. I love this film so much. I can kind of see that, but you hear like it's only $6.4 million. I know that's a lot of money, but for a major Hollywood film, even in the 80s, that is nothing. That is like an independent film budget. And like to create like one of the most successful and one of the most long-lasting action franchises out of that, I think is hugely impressive. But I do kind of understand what you're saying.
But also, it just felt like college students who play video games a lot, they were just like, oh, let's just put a bunch of like guns and shooting and killing, and then we'll throw in a sex scene that doesn't really work because the two main characters didn't like really have that connection. They were just like, this is going to be the dad. We need them to have sex.
I will say they definitely needed to put a little more of that actual romance in there, like them actually like having a scene of them actually like talking about it and like actually connecting, because it didn't like they're just like, and now I'm in love. Yeah, it didn't really work. There was apparently, I'm not 100% sure about this. This is more rumors. In like one of the first drafts of the script or something, the Terminator wasn't revealed until after like the truck exploded at the end. Like you didn't see them come back from the future. You didn't see any of the future scenes. The Terminator wasn't going to just get like shot like in the chest or something, or maybe he was. Like they were really going to kind of mess with you on whether or not Kyle was actually a crazy person or not.
I feel like I would have liked that more.
Yeah, like it would have been way more interesting, I feel like.
It would have been like a psychological thriller.
But like it would have revealed the Terminator at the end. I feel like that would have made it that much scarier. You would have been like, holy shit, you know, like, oh my God, he was right. He was telling the truth, and then he dies like right after. You'd be like, holy shit, oh my God, he's dead now and he's right about everything. He's not crazy. Fuck. I think it probably would have been just as successful too. I say that, but at the same time, like Terminator 2, we need a theme that gets you to watch Terminator 2. It's not like you couldn't do that, make that like a psychological thriller. That one is just a fucking balls to the wall action film. Just probably one of the best action films of all time.
So because that was the only one that I had seen parts of, I had no idea that Arnold was going to be a bad guy. I thought like from just the tidbits of seeing Terminator 2, I was like, Arnold's the good guy. He's there to protect. And then I was like, this is taking a turn.
That's the exact opposite of like everyone in who first saw this film. Everyone knew that Arnold was the bad guy. And then it's not until the second one that they also think he's the bad guy at the start of the second one. And then it's revealed he's the good guy. But you already know that. So you reversed him somehow. That's amazing. I love it.
Yeah, I was so confused on that.
Yeah, I think that's hilarious. I mean, he is like on the cover of it and like everything. And it's usually like the good guy, the protagonist that are on the posters. They're like main billing kind of thing.
And it makes sense because he's the Terminator. He's there to terminate. That just didn't click in my brain.
That is so great.
And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, Terminator. I wouldn't want to be Terminated now that I think about it. Back to the climax. They have the pipe bombs and they throw one in the exhaust of the truck and it blows up. They're like, it's done, it's over, and they hug each other. Did you think that was the end? Did you think credits were going to start rolling or something, or if it's going to fade to the next scene?
No, because of the way Kyle explained the Terminators and the robot, that it's just the outside skin. They don't feel any pain, and that can leave. That you would have, it's really hard to kill them.
Yeah.
I figured that he wasn't dead then.
Okay, I was curious.
When the semi-truck exploded, Sarah walked back towards the fire.
Girl, I think she walked because Kyle was over there.
I guess.
How much did you scream at Sarah when she told the Terminator where they were?
Oh, that was annoying. Did he kill her mom?
It's highly implied, yeah, that he killed her mom.
Because he had to get her voice, and he was at the family cabin, so...
Right, it's highly implied. In the next movie, they don't imply when the Terminator kills people. It's fully shown.
Why would she talk to her mom?
But even then, if some crazy shit was happening, wouldn't you kind of want to talk to, a trusted or a loved one? And, if they, just wanted to know you're safe. I don't know. I do think it's stupid, but I kind of understand it. But at the same time, just be like, Mom, we're safe. Bye. Click.
I gotta say, I loved the cafe she had to run into and hide, the tech noir.
Oh, yeah.
It's so 80s.
It's very 80s film. The hair, what Arnold wears through most of it, everything. It's great.
I think it's funny that in 8 years, the world's going to be overrun with robots.
Yep.
We only got 8 years.
Not out of that. But Judgment Day would have already happened, though. So we avoided that. So that's good.
I just think it's funny that so many 80s movies had the future in the 2010s and 2020s. They're not good at predicting the future.
No, because everyone's always optimistic about the future, but it always sucks.
They were really bad at predicting the future, probably because all the coke that they did back in the 80s.
Yep, I can see it, man.
I can see it.
Stretches so long. It's gonna be great, man. We're gonna be fighting robots. Everything's gonna be gone. Nuclear wasteland. It's gonna be so cool. You okay, Bob? You good? Yeah, man. I'm great.
They're gonna have to come into the past to fight for the future, man.
It's gonna be great. I gotta call my pal Jimmy. See what he thinks. Hey, Jimmy C. You know that sound you've been looking for? Well, listen
hey, man.
To this.
Sorry. I'm in tech noir right now. I can't hear you.
All right. What'd you think of the psychiatrist?
It's not far off from how psychiatrists treat women back then. So
yeah.
I mean, he was treating the guy like that, but...
Oh, don't worry. The same psychiatrist will treat Sarah Connor like that in the next film.
Dang, he didn't die in the whole gunfight in the police station? Yeah, I didn't like him.
Yeah, and he becomes a bigger dick in the second one. I can't remember if he dies in that one yet. I think he does. All right. Who and how would you recommend this film?
People who really like action movies, because action movies, you don't need emotion in them. Right. There's, none in there.
Most people don't equate boring and action in the same, but okay.
So I said that I watched these movies back to back. I watched Terminator first, and then I watched Casablanca. I was very bored that night.
I am so glad you didn't watch Casablanca first, because you would have been like, oh, that was kind of boring. And then
going into this, I was just like, eh.
Yeah, Terminator and Ragnarok. How would Jamie describe those films? Boring, Well, so for objective competence, I guessed an A-.
I gave it a B-.
I was struggling with a B+, but I'm like, it's a classic. There's such great stuff. She can't go below an A. Okay. So I'm off by 3 there. Personal enjoyment, I guessed a 6 out of 10.
Give it a 5.
All right. I'm at 4. Here we go. And for rewatchability, I guess a 2 out of 5.
Give it a 1 out of 5.
Oh, wasn't quite right.
But I'm
pretty sure that makes me the winner. Woo! Yeah.
You did it!
Boom, 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 boom. I did it. No song this week. I don't think I've won in a couple weeks, honestly. I feel like you've won the past 2 weeks. Maybe even 3. I don't know. I'd have to go back and listen.
You won the Oscar special. That was the last time you won.
Yeah, when was that? Episode 7?
6.
6? Yeah, it's been a minute. It's been a minute. I knew it's been a minute.
But you won episode 10. That's so exciting.
I got that. I have episode 1 and 10 and the Oscar special. I win the big episodes. I win when it matters, folks. Jamie may be consistent, but I'm clutch. Okay? Boom. All right. We have an announcement. After 10 amazing episodes, we have decided to step away from them. And then we're going to do an episode on us. So canceled. We canceled ourselves. No, we are going to do a sweepstakes. We're going to have a viewer suggested episode. Everything in this episode, we don't know exactly when it's going to happen, but everything from the movies to the mini segments and mini games, everything will be from you, the viewers. And Jamie is going to tell you how.
So there's going to be a couple of rules. We're also going to have post on Instagram. We're going to have a post on Facebook. We're going to have a post on Twitter of the rules and everything on there. So you do not need to remember from this podcast of what you have to do. But I'm going to say them really quick. 1, you have to follow us on social media.
Obviously.
Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Choose one, choose all of them. Follow us on something. 2, leave a review for us. And in the review, mention episode 10. Which is this episode, in case you were wondering.
Episode. Yep. Mention anything about episode 10.
Give us your ratings on these movies. Give us your thoughts on our mini segment, on your mini game, anything. Next, share the giveaway post on your Insta stories or on your Facebook or on Twitter. You have to share that post.
Yep.
Very important. And then there's going to be like, if you tag friends, we'll give you extra entries into it. Also a bonus if you subscribe to our YouTube channel and comment on episode 10 on there. Derek does the videos for it, so he puts a lot of work into that. And so the prizes, like Derek said, the first one that we draw will be the listener suggested movie or TV show, like whatever you want. The second place, you can choose the mini games. Third place, you can choose the mini segment.
Yeah, that's it. And like we said, the more you do of these things, like there's the 3 you got to do, obviously, to get it entered. But the more you do, if you go to YouTube and comment, if you tag friends, if you share multiple posts, the more we'll see you just do anything and everything.
And we'll announce the winners in a future episode.
And then we'll let you know when it's closed.
Yes.
And then we'll figure everything out. And then probably the episode after that, we'll let you know the winners.
Yeah, because we record these in advance. So we'll let you know what episode it's going to be too.
All right. On to our actual mini segment.
All right, so the mini segment. For episode 10, we are going to be talking about our top 10 standalone films.
We each have 10. And we're just going to go through them. Just boom, 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 because we got a lot to talk about. I just realized I didn't do mine in any particular order because it was
I didn't
too
either.
hard. So this is just no particular order, just top 10 standalone films. So the first one I want to talk about is Sideways.
Haven't seen it.
You haven't seen it? It's so good. Sideways came out in 2004 and stars Thomas Hayden Church and Paul Giamatti. They're 2 best friends, and they like go to wine country in California to celebrate Thomas Hayden Church's bachelor party. It's kind of just like a growth story with Paul Giamatti, and you know, his wife left him and he's in a dead-end job and he's just trying to like get out of a funk. You kind of just realize he's not a great guy, but he gets better along the way and he like fixes problems about himself. And at the end of the movie, you don't quite know if like everything's gonna work out or not, but you know that he took a chance to fix it. So like that's like the point of the movie. You just kind of have to go for it. You have to do it. Like you're never gonna know if you don't try. So I love this movie. I actually watched it accidentally. I was at a lake house one summer with my family, and it was like one of the DVDs that the owners of the house just had, and I watched it one night and fell in love. The next one is Arrival, which came out in 2016. It's about aliens coming to Earth, and Amy Adams is like a linguist that tries to communicate with them, and it just gets real crazy. Jamie, have you seen this one?
No, but I kind of want to.
Oh, it's so good. I don't really want to say anything. Just go watch it. Everyone go watch this film. It is such a great film. It really makes you think about like how time works and love and family and what you would do for them. And the aliens are really cool. And it's just a really awesome film. Go watch it. Next one, Netflix's Dolomite Is My Name.
Oh, that's another one I haven't seen that I want to.
Oh my God, I'm going through all of them. This one came out in 2019, so it's pretty recent. Has a huge cast. Stars Eddie Murphy, follows him. Like so many people are in this film. It's amazing. And it's all about this comedian in the, I believe the 70s named Rudy. Just the passion he has to just try to make something of his life and try to just be somebody, anybody. And like how he just puts that into making this like just completely outlandish, crazy film. And then ends up kind of like creating a whole new genre of comedy and film. It's like one of Eddie Murphy's best films in a long time. A real like return to form for him. It's so funny, super heartwarming, and like tells an amazing story. On to my next one. Hopefully Jamie will see one of these films. I don't think she's seen this one actually, which is Spirited Away. Have you seen it?
No.
Hayao Miyazaki film, came out in 2001. This one follows a 10-year-old girl that wanders into a world ruled by gods, witches, and spirits, where her parents are changed into pigs, and she's like forced to work for this evil witch, and then she like discovers the witch's good twin and like this spirit of the lake. It's really hard to explain a Miyazaki film, and this is honestly just such a great film, and it's creepy yet peaceful yet funny and action-packed yet calming and terrifying. It's a wonderful film, and even for people who don't love like anime, I think you'd like it, especially if you go watch a dub version of it. It's on HBO Max right now. All right, next one. We're making our way down. Number 5, and it is Mr. Smith Goes to Washington from 1939. Have you seen this one?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. It's great. It's about a dude who goes to Washington and like he fights political corruption. And the famous scene is like last 30 minutes when he does like a filibuster, back when a filibuster was like you literally had to stand and stay standing and you couldn't stop talking basically. It's such a good film. And even though it is, over 80 years old, it is so relevant today. It's a film that's, I think, still needs to be watched. Number 6. One of my favorite films. This one kind of inspired me to become an online minister, a wedding minister. This is The Big Lebowski. 1998 Coen Brothers film, The Big Lebowski. The dude. I love this film. I emulate my personality after the dude. I follow his philosophy of just chilling and abiding, So the premise of this film is basically 2 goons confuse stoner slacker Jeff Lebowski for billionaire Jeff Lebowski and like beat him up and like try to extort him and piss on his rug. And that's when Jeff Stoner Lebowski goes on a mission to gain recompense for his rug, and then hijinks ensue because of it. It is such a movie that just like shit keeps happening and you just kind of have to like go with the flow and just kind of like let things happen because you can't control what happens, but you can control how you react to it. Okay, on to my next one, which I'm pretty sure you've seen. Bridesmaids.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, I'm going to let you talk for a little bit.
Bridesmaids is a female version of like all of these male-centric comedy movies, like The Hangover.
Out, yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, it's basically what it says it is.
Yeah, just a hilarious comedy. The wedding, the dress fitting scene.
Where they all like have food poisoning.
Yeah, Maya Rudolph just shits in the street, happening in the street. Don't you look at me! Don't you look at me! It really is a great film. It's honestly like endlessly rewatchable. And there's actually like a great story in there about like friendship, like new friends versus like your lifelong friends, and kind of like how you balance that. On to my next one. We're almost done. And then we have
What
James.
is this, number 7?
Number 8, About Time, released in 2013.
I love that movie.
I only watched this film like 6 months ago and absolutely fell in love with it. It is such a beautiful, just sweetheart of a film that you think is about like a romance, but it's actually more about like a father and son's relationship. It hits you in the feels so hard at the end. This movie probably made me cry more than any other movie. Maybe. I don't know. I'd have to look back, but it's such a good film. Oh yeah, for those of you who don't know, this film is about Donald Gleason, who discovers that he has the power to travel through time anytime he goes into a small, dark, closed space. And he uses that, and hijinks ensue. Some good, some bad. All right, this one I know you've seen because we've talking about it on the podcast. And it is 2018's Black Klansman. Such a great movie. Not a easy film to watch, but also kind of it is at the same time. It's about the true story of Ron Stallworth, who's a police officer in Colorado who infiltrates the KKK with the help of some of his other officers. It's honestly kind of funny too. Like, it is a comedy. There's a lot of funny moments, and like all the police officers, you can tell they're like decently good friends in the way they play off each other. But then there's also like some really like terrifying moments and like some despicable people. And then the way this story ends with just like clips of Nazis marching today and like the Charleston Unite the Right rally. And it just shows like the film takes place, I believe, in the 70s. It shows like how much they had to fight for today and how much they were fighting the good fight then, but like how much we still have to do today. So great movie. Need to rewatch it. Okay, last one, much more lighthearted. And that is The Iron Giant from 1999. This is one of my favorite animated films of all time. Another film that just hits me right in the feels at the end. The Iron Giant is such like a puppy dog character, and he's so cute and wonderful, and you just love him. And the fact that he's voiced by Vin Diesel just makes it that much better. Just such a great voice cast, such a great film. If you haven't watched this film, go watch this film. And if you don't cry, you have no soul. Okay, but that is my top 10 standalone film. Jamie, what are yours?
Yeah, mine aren't in any particular order either. The first one I have on the list is one that I've actually watched twice in the last month, and I've sent Derek lots of Snapchats about it, and that one is Notting Hill.
Oh, God.
Anyways, the movie. It's about William Thacker. He owns a travel bookshop, and then Julia Roberts plays Anna Scott, who is a celebrity, and it's a love story between them. Anna Scott being a celebrity, it like shows how normal people were reacting to her. It's such a good movie because it's so realistic. It's not something where you're like, that wouldn't happen. You literally watch it and you're like, that's totally something that would happen. That's how you actually talk. It's so funny. It's set in London. Like, I really want them to do a remake with Harry Styles as the main guy. I think he would be a great William Thacker. Anyways, yes. Second one is just one that I love so much. It's Forrest Gump. It's so good. I literally could watch this over and over and over, like the quotable lines from it. Everyone, I swear to God, if you haven't seen Forrest Gump, just stop listening, go watch Forrest Gump. It's literally about Forrest Gump, played by Tom Hanks. He's not all there. He goes through life, like you literally watch his entire life from a child to an adult. He goes to college. He plays college football. He fights in Vietnam. He gets shot in the ass. He plays ping pong. He buys a boat.
Yeah, it's like the story of America told just like the most basic person, kind of.
And then his love, Jenny.
Jenny, the worst person ever.
All right, next one. It's August Rush. So August Rush came out in 2007, and I went to see it in theaters. Like, it's such a good movie. The soundtrack is incredible. It's about a musically gifted orphan, played by Freddie Highmore, who runs away and searches New York City for his birth parents. And his birth parents are Kerry Russell and Jonathan Rhys-Meyers, and it goes back and forth between their son going to New York, learning he's like a musical savant, and flashbacks to Kerry Russell and Jonathan Rhys-Meyers, and neither of them knew that they had a son. Yeah, I love this movie. Next one, The Notebook. I mean, obvious reasons. I hope everyone knows what The Notebook is. It came out in like 2004. It's 1940s South Carolina mill worker Noah and rich girl Allie. It's their love story told from an old guy reading a book to an old lady. It's so good. I love that. Have you seen The Notebook?
Nope.
Matt watched it with me once, and he was like, that was actually a really good movie. The next one I feel like you have seen, Billy Madison.
Oh, yeah. Such a good film.
Billy
Stop looking at me,
Madison.
Swan. We talk about quotable movies.
It's from 95. It's a normal, like, Adam Sandler comedy. And I was trying to think, like, what Adam Sandler movie? Because there's so many that he does that I fucking love. And I'm thinking, like, the one that I probably would watch a lot is Billy Madison. Yeah, man-child Billy Madison has been a spoiled rich kid his whole life and spends his days drinking and partying. And his father tells him he needs to get his shit together. And so Billy goes through every single grade in school for 2 weeks until he can graduate. And then he has, like, this whole competition at the end to see if him or his dad's business partner gets the company. And it's so good. Like,
shampoo is better. It goes on first and cleans the hair. No, conditioner is better. It goes on second and makes the hair silky and smooth. Oh, really, fool? Really? Stop looking at me, Swan.
yeah, that's a good one. And then Billy peed his pants. Yeah, I peed my pants. All the cool kids pee their pants.
Today, Junior?
Yes! I do that all the time with Matt.
Oh, yeah, that one's
Today,
great.
Junior. All right, so yes, Billy Madison had to be on there. Next
Great.
one is The King's Speech. Came out in 2010. It's England's Prince Albert must ascend the throne as King George VI, but he has a speech impediment. And so Jeffrey Rush plays a speech therapist. It's literally about the king learning to deal with his stammer because he has to speak publicly. Fantastic. I love historical movies. I love period pieces. I love British movies. I love Colin Firth because we share the same birthday.
Nice.
Yeah, I love this movie. I've watched it a lot. I've watched it like 5 times. Have you seen it?
Yeah, once. I don't really remember it much. I remember liking it, but I don't remember too much from it.
Next one on there, again, is another period piece. It is Pride and Prejudice, the 2005 with Keira Knightley and Matthew McFadden. You guys know Pride and Prejudice. I mean, about Elizabeth Bennet and Mr. Darcy meeting, falling in love, blah, blah, blah. Love it. Next one, speeding right through. We got 13 going on 30.
Also never seen it.
It's a girl set in the 80s, I believe, who is sick of being 13. And so she has like magic dust fall on her and she becomes 30 in 2004. And she just lives life as the mind of a 13-year-old in the body of a 30-year-old. She has a job at a magazine. She goes to find her old best friend.
The only thing I know about this film is because anytime it was like advertised for on TV, they'd always show the one scene like they were in an elevator and someone would say to her, "That's a nice dress." And she went, "Because I got these great boobs to fill them out."
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, that kind of makes me want to watch the film.
Next one, I gotta throw a Christmas one in there. The Holiday.
My mom's like favorite film.
Oh, I love it so much. It's basically Cameron Diaz is in LA, Kate Winslet's in London. They switch houses on a really cool, like I wish it existed, house swapping vacation site. Cameron Diaz meets Jude Law. Kate Winslet meets Jack Black. It's a lovely movie. It's a Christmassy movie. Just a feel-good movie. Like you watch it and you just feel good. You don't have any worries watching it. You know it's going to be happy. Last one. I gotta throw a Disney movie in there. Princess and the Frog. It's one that I put on a lot. It's like our go-to-sleep one, and I've watched it probably like 100 times in the past year just because it's what we put on when we go to sleep. Like any Disney movie, it's based on an old story. So Princess and the Frog, girl turns into a frog after kissing a frog who was a prince, and then they go on a journey trying to figure out how to become human again.
I love the villain, the Shadow
yes,
Man.
Dr. Facilier. He's such a good villain. That was our mini segment of our top 10 standalone films in no particular order.
Means it's time for a minigame. Me first, you first, who first? Me first. I go first. I'm saying I go first. Which is Super Fights. I'm going to name 2 characters from each of the films we just reviewed. And Jamie's going to give them some superpowers, some advantages, maybe disadvantages. And we're going to see what happens. And we're each going to fight. We're each going to argue for one or the other. So Jamie, before I reveal the characters, give me the stuff. And then I'll assign it to the characters, and then I'll let you choose. So the fight is between the T-800 Terminator, and then it's a tag team of Rick and Louie. Now, the Terminator does have a hostage, but Rick and Louie can summon cats to do their bidding. So, Jamie, who do you want to pick?
The Terminator?
You're going to pick the Terminator? Okay. I guess I got Captain Louis Renault and Rick. I'll let you go first.
The Terminator is a big, beefy, artificially intelligent robot man, who can only die by being completely crushed. And I don't think any fucking cats or 2 humans are gonna, especially like middle-aged humans, I don't think they're gonna be able to take on the Terminator. He's just can walk up to them and just punch him and be done. Even if he has a hostage, what are they gonna do? He doesn't care about hostage. He doesn't care about human life.
So I'm gonna get rid of the hostage because I don't think the Terminator will keep a hostage for that long.
No.
Hostage really doesn't make a difference here. But I will say this, the Terminator probably won't have a gun because a Terminator doesn't just have a gun on them.
That's why I said punch.
Right, but it can be argued that Louis would definitely have a gun because he's the chief of police, and Rick might have a gun because he had been shown to carry a gun in the film, but that's usually only in times when he specifically needed it, but at least Louis's got a gun. So with the cats, I think they could easily devise a strategy to distract the Terminator and get Louis close enough, maybe open up a hatch or something and get Louis close enough to like fire a couple bullets into the back of like the Terminator's skull to like destroy it. Maybe shoot it in its eyes. I'm saying they can do, they're smart enough to get it done, to get that Terminator down on the ground and put it out of commission.
I don't think they could get it out of commission. I believe that, yes, if they had guns, they could shoot him, but you saw in the movie that doesn't take down the Terminator.
No, they were bad shots in that movie. They weren't doing the best. And it has been shown in other movies that Terminators can be destroyed with guns. So the right place
guns
bullet.
From 1941?
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, maybe not. They didn't show that as movies, but that definitely like they're big bullets. Big bullets would do more damage. That's how it works. So
I don't know. I feel like the Terminator could just get to them.
The Terminator's not going to know what to do with the cat. The Terminator is almost going to be like, does not compute. What is this? Like, never seen cats because like they destroyed the world before like it knew anything, so they don't know what cats are. It's going to completely throw all its whole operating system. It's not going to be able to track them. Rick is smart. Louis got a gun. Together with the cats, they're taking this robot down.
I don't know. I think a robot from 2029 could take down two people from 1941, no problem. Rick and Louie would be shocked. They'd be like, what the
With
fuck's
such a
that?
beautiful friendship that they have.
Their friendship can save the world.
Exactly. They got this. All right, listeners, who do you think would win? You decide. Jamie, what is your minigame?
Woo! My minigame is Cards Against Us. For all of you who know Cards Against Humanity, I give a black card which has a phrase and a blank on it. Derek then is the one who reads that, and then I give him cards to fill in that blank. This week, I made all of the black cards, and I did them with quotes from both movies.
Oh, shit.
All right. And I got a special person to be the second card, because I'm doing my card, their card, and a ghost card. And it is our friend Jasmine.
What?
Yeah, Jasmine chose some cards for this game.
Nice.
First one. The original quote is, "We'll always have Paris." But the black card is, "We'll always have blank."
All right. Nice.
Card number 1.
Child beauty pageants.
Second card.
Number 2, we'll always have going an entire day without masturbating. And number 3, we'll always have the Kool-Aid Man. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we won't always have a day without masturbating. Like, we won't always have that. Like, so that's, I mean, it's funny, but I think it's got to be gone. I think this one's actually a pretty easy one for me. I think we're going to go with the Kool-Aid Man. We'll always have the Kool-Aid Man. Because that'd be like they had a threesome with the Kool-Aid Man.
That one was Jasmine.
Oh, nice. Jasmine, good pick. I love it.
All right. Second quote. The original quote is, "Come with me if you want to live." The black card is, "Come with me if you want blank."
Card number 1. Come with me if you want world peace. All right. It's kind and sweet and nice. Number 2. Come with me if you want an unwanted pregnancy. I mean, he could have said that, basically. It's what happened. Okay, number 3, doing it in the butt. So the opposite of number 2.
No unwanted pregnancy.
No pregnancy that way. It's at number 3 again. Come with me if you want doing it in the butt. Like, that's the best. That one, it's just too good.
That one was also Jasmine.
Jasmine, taking us to town.
The next one is a twofer, and it's a long quote, so I can read it for you. And I can't remember what the blanks were.
That's fine.
The blank rose from the ashes of the nuclear fire. Their war to exterminate blank had raged for decades.
Okay.
All right. Number 1.
The Fox News
Rose from the ashes of the nuclear fire. Their war to exterminate
my sex life
had raged for decades.
That's a good one. That's very topical. Next.
The
natural male enhancement
rose from the ashes of the nuclear fire. Their war to exterminate
men. Oh, God.
Had raged for decades.
I mean, just the male enhancement rose pun. That gets your points right there. All right. What's the next one?
Last one.
Last one.
The
much younger woman
rose from the ashes of the nuclear fire. Their war to exterminate
erectile dysfunction.
Had raged for decades.
Oh, these are all good.
And one of them's a ghost card.
One of them's a ghost card. How is that possible? Like, these all work perfectly. The natural male enhancement rose to destroy men. Young women rose to destroy erectile dysfunction. Or Fox News rose to destroy my sex life. You know what? I knew it right away when I read it, and I have to go with my gut. It's definitely Fox News rose to destroy my sex life. Because it works too perfectly. It's so good. That's the winner.
That one is the ghost card.
No fucking way.
Yeah.
There's no fucking way that was the ghost card. I was thinking maybe it was the natural male enhancement and the men. Maybe.
No.
That one is too fucking perfect to be ghost. The universe has willed that one the winner. I did not choose that winner. The universe did.
Last one. The quote is, "Of all the gin joints in all the towns in all the world, you walked into mine." But it's, "So of all the gin joints in all the towns in all the world, she blank."
She blank. She auto-cannibalism. Okay, she switched to Geico.
Of all the gin joints in all the towns in all the worlds, she
jerked off into a pool of children's tears. Claim it, call it. That's the winner. Yep. In all the gin joints in all the towns in all the world, she jerked off into a children's pool. To a pool of children's tears in mine. Couldn't even get through it. That's the winner.
That was me.
That would have been a much more interesting film. I'll tell you that much. That'll got the Nazis out of there.
That's so funny. So Jasmine got 2, Ghost Card got 1, and I got 1.
All right. So Jasmine's the winner of that one. Good job, Jasmine. You won that game.
Well, that's our show. This episode, we reviewed Casablanca and Terminator, and the final score was tallied.
And I fucking won after what, 3 episodes? Did we realize that I hadn't won in 3 episodes? No one told me. No one thought to bring it up. Like, Derek, you haven't won in a minute. Maybe you gotta step up your game. But I won. And we like to end every one of our shows with us reading a review. Miss Robin Constance, aka my mother, said that she had listened to and really liked the Real War Films episode, and that she really liked the surprise guest, which, if you guys remember, was my sister.
Write us a review wherever you listen to podcasts. And like we said, leave a review with episode 10 in the review to enter the sweepstakes. But if you have any questions or anything, you can always write to us at iknowyoudjpodcast@gmail.com. And these are where you can follow us, is at iknowyoupod on Instagram, or I Know You with Derek and Jamie on Facebook, or I Know You Podcast on Twitter. So either of those 3, go for it. We're on YouTube as well, of I Know You with Derek and Jamie. And we have our personal ones as well. Mine is at Jamie Dura.
And mine's at Big Freaking Geek. And as always, we like to let you know what movies we'll be watching next week, and potentially have you write in to let us know what you think the theme is, as well as your ratings. The movies are Captain America, The First Avenger, and National Treasure 2, Book of Secrets, both of which can be found on Disney+. Let us know who you think suggested what, as well as your ratings.
We post our podcast every other Tuesday, so remember to come back and listen to us wherever you listen to podcasts. Thank you so much for listening to I Know You with Derek and Jamie. Until next time, I'm Jamie.
And I'm Derek.
Bye!